Just in time. Sorry, Herman, I moved because I thought the room would fall over if we all sat on one side.
But for now, you
Like,
we walk to the ring. Maybe we can catch or find Secret Santa doing something else.
All right. With everybody here that we are expecting.
Let's do it.
Are you watching TV, Kathleen?
So did you?
No, my son is.
Ah,
Can you hear it?
yes, loud and clear.
What's on?
I, sorry, not that clear, but loudly.
I think it wasn't anything inappropriate.
In that case, leave it on.
I, as secretary for the commission, will call the meeting to order in the absence of the commissioner. Following that, I will call the roll. Commissioner McCormick,
Present.
Commissioner Seafor, Commissioner Monroe,
Present.
Commissioner Wolkoff,
Present.
Commissioner Humes,
Present.
Commissioner Mohammed. Present. Following that, I will make a motion to elect a chairperson pro tem. That will be acting chairperson for this meeting.
I move that Gail Wolkoff says, Tim. I'll second that. Great. You're welcome.
I will do it.
All right. Here it is. See the meeting.
Well, did everybody have first of all, good evening, welcome. It's lovely to be on the diag with both of you, well, with you, it's great, welcome. Did everybody have opportunity to look at the agenda?
Yeah.
Do we have anything that we want to add? I would like to add that during announcements that we can also, for people to also think about what they would like to add for the next January 25 agenda. Excuse me, and with the idea being that we're going to be setting goals. So you have the time now to start thinking about it so it can be added. So I just wanted to plant that seed for 2025, the goals that we will be creating.
So we can add that now, or you want to do that?
I wanted to do that during the announcements.
Okay.
So
During the announcements. Okay.
because I'm someone who needs moments to think.
All right.
So in that sense, do I have a motion to approve the minutes or the agenda?
Yeah, can give you a motion. Yeah.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The minutes, did people have an opportunity to look at the minutes from the November 21st? Everybody looked at them, gone over them,
Yes.
happy with them?
Looks good.
Cool. A motion to approve the minutes?
Second.
I can't make the motion.
Motion and second.
You can second them. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Public comments. Anybody in the audience for public comments? Cool.
Have someone on Zoom.
Okay, we have somebody. Oh, we're going to do Zoom first? Awesome. Public comments. This is an opportunity, 3 minutes for you to share your thoughts for YPACs, and so we can hear what you're going to say. We ask that you keep it kind and respectful, and we look forward to hearing what you have to say. Thank you.
Is your chance at the top of the meeting.
Public comments at the end of the meeting. So let's move inside. Would you like to, public comments now? Yeah,
Yes,
you really do. Please, because
Because your voice is so quiet, we mic you up.
people online really can't hear. I'm surprised how you really can't hear if you're not talking in the
Okay,
microphone.
okay. You guys are the advisory panel for the police department, right? Okay. I guess my concern as having conversation with people in the community where I live, my concern is where and what direction or where is the police department going? People don't feel safe and they don't feel protected. We got drive-by shootings, we got robberies, and we got kidnappings, and people just don't feel protected. And I'm just wondering which way is our department going? I know we need a lot of boots on the ground. I know we need that, and also we need as much administrative assistance as we can get with the department being as small as it is. You know, if my brother and I, we out there leading the pack, and the pack low, we're gonna jump in and help lead the pack. So I'm just wondering, you know, what way are we going? And in the past, this used to be what they call a citizen complaint board back in the day. And it was mandatory. It was mandatory back in the day that someone from the fire department, at that time it was I forget the chief name, but someone from the fire department, someone from the police department was at the citizen with complaint board meetings. That way they could answer any question that might come up. So I'm just wondering which way our department is going, and if anybody can see. Reason I get tired of people coming to me. I really get tired of people coming to me. I really don't. But I let them know I'm not your council person. I'm not your city manager. I'm not your mayor. And I'm not your police chief or your fire chief. So when you get ready, go to those guys. But I guess they feel somewhat confident in me to come in, and I don't really reject them. But it becomes on me just to ask the question, in what direction is our police department going? If we're gonna have a police department, I think the people should know. And if they're not gonna have one, they should know.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Very much.
Very good questions. Very good question. Discussion items. I've noticed, and I would like to put on the record as the acting chair, that there are no comments from the chief of police. He's not here, nor do we have any written data from him from the police department. So we have no indication of what has happened within the past month. So I would just like that to go on record that we don't, that information, even though we've asked for that consistently, we still don't have it for today, nor do we have the chief or any of the administrative people that are supposed to be here in lieu of the chief of police. Which is something, if I remember correctly, we've talked about a while ago, Herman, where we were going to have the chief as the staff person at our meetings years ago. So that was something that we had discussed. So thank you. The next thing on the discussions on the discussion items are the 2025 YPAC calendar. We have here someplace in these lovely containers,
Second page.
page 4.
Second page on the back.
Dates. Questions. I know that I have potential changes that I would like to make, but does anybody else have changes that they would like to make as they've looked at their calendar for 2025? That seems so far away. Especially if it's 2023 in my brain. No. Herman, are you cool with the dates that are listed so far, everybody? I would like to propose in November and December, that instead of meeting the 20th, the third Thursday, we go to the second Thursday, which would be November 13th and November 11th. The reason being is the Educate Youth Board meetings are the third Thursday of the month. So I need to,
So, which would mean that we would be missing one person, or does that mean we?
no, I'm asking to move the date from November 20th, which is the third Thursday, to November 13th. So that would be like this month, that would be the second Thursday for November and the second Thursday for December.
What I'm asking is, so what would happen if it happened on November 20th? How would that?
November
impact-
20th and 18th, I wouldn't be there. I mean, November 20th, I wouldn't be there, and December 18th, I wouldn't be there.
Okay, so December 11th, I won't be here.
Oh, this is why we're having this discussion, right? I mean, it's looking at people's schedule. I mean, and we can ask for anything we want in the calendar and see what works.
So trying not to sound callous,
I love calluses.
but being straightforward and honest, that would mean you were changing it because there would be one person that would not be there, but everyone else could possibly be there.
That is a
correct?
possibility, but that's,
So we could, that's what, right, you know what I'm saying?
well,
I hear what you're saying. I get it. But I also am looking at the whole. And if the whole if the whole with minus a slice could be there, then I'm for leaving the dates where they are.
perfect. No, I'm asking because we're arranging calendars and
Right.
this is the time to do it, like we did tonight.
Right.
This is the time to do it. So
I'm flexible.
trying a new slice or a new pie. Okay, so I heard one person say, keep it the same. I heard one person say that he would be there the 11th. So that's the perfect example of it would accommodate one person, but not another person. So
Oh, I'd say just leave it alone. Because we can always change it in the future if there's other interfering or interrupting or
Correct.
correct.
right? Okay.
That's absolutely, so it can be changed as this one was,
Okay.
but
Thank you.
as we were
All right.
being proactive. in
Okay.
this.
Thank you.
Other questions?
So I do have I don't know where my thought would come in because mine has to do with the meeting places. We meet here at City Hall. I would like to in the future, and I guess we could have this discussion in January when we have the full, I think we should have the full body of persons that are on the council here. I would like to recommend that we meet like every other month in a different place. So we meet at Park Ridge one month, and then we here at City Hall. Then the next month, this is just an example. This is
What-
not. Then we could meet at Ypsi Rec, hall 1 month. Just to get us in a position where we're out, where the people can feel comfortable in communities that come to us. Because again, I really want to push that we are We are a liaison. We're here to trying to help advise, support the police department, and they need to also, that's another thing, they also need to show up at our sessions so that people know that we're all working together. We're all working together. That's just something I guess I'm throwing out. Is that something that we should put on the agenda for January when the full body is possibly here?
I'm not mistaken, and John and Liaison Susan, please correct me, that under the Opens Meetings Act, if we decide to have a meeting at like Riverside Arts Center or Park Ridge, as long as it's notified with enough time, we can do that. And it also needs to be, as we've talked about before, when we were going to do the joint meetings and the town meetings, is it needs to be accessible and the ability to be accessible. Am I correct in my thinking?
Yes, that is all my understanding, and particularly the amount of notice, I believe, is at least 2 days. Of course, or if you decide a little further ahead of time, so that
Right.
we can secure venues and all of that. There is a requirement, like you said, for accessibility, that these meetings are recorded and that they are live streamed, as we do here. And so that would be a consideration for what, location you decide to pick. I know that, top of my head, there are a few libraries that have, relatively
Space.
suitable accommodations. I believe Park Ridge does as well. Of course, you have to work with their calendar.
Right.
It's all
Right.
possible.
And so if we, John, I'm just asking for, so I can understand how the process works. So if we decide to have it at, let's say, Park Ridge, is that something that who does the checking in with the place for, the availability as well as the publicity? Because it also needs to be, something publicized and,
My understanding is that ultimately is handled by the clerk's office, particularly for the joint meeting that was held at the library. That was how it was handled. So whether that's me or, when Lori comes back,
okay. All right. Thank you very,
take the initiative to talk to them, I certainly wouldn't mind.
okay.
We can-
Well,
oh,
no,
no,
that's fine. Yeah, that's fine too. I just don't want to step on anyone's toes, or I don't know what the process is. So I just want to know how does that work?
Yeah.
And so, okay. Thank you.
So potentially as an agenda item would be to take this one step farther and coming up with a list of locations of where we want to have it, thinking about the different, within the wards, the 3 wards, and making sure that we are getting at least to all 3 wards to hear all the people. I mean, does that?
So can we set that up? Can we set that up for the agenda for the January?
I have it.
And then I would like to walk out of that meeting we've got some places and some solid dates or ideas about, whether to do it every other month or every, 3rd month or whatever. I just want to get us out.
My question would be, how would you do
Can
Zoom?
you move up to the microphone? Because people really can't hear you when you're not on the microphone.
My question is, how would you do Zoom?
I know, so again, with the previous joint meeting, there are, facilities similar to what we have in the council chambers, at least at the library. I imagine Park Ridge has something similar where they have some kind of integrated,
What about Ward 3? You got the freight house. It's not set up for it.
we would have to do some research to find suitable locations.
We would have to find we would have to find something. So what I'm going to ask all the commissioners is for us to do exactly what you're presenting, is within the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because the agenda we have to have things to the clerk's office, 2 weeks ahead of time, a week ahead of time, a week ahead of time. So all of us come up with places in each of the wards that we can have meetings. And then that way we're coming into the January meetings with a list of places. So we're then voting on places and or using all of them, because we have more meetings out than here. Than I think that more people showing up if we are within the community. So are people comfortable with that assignment of places? Because I have no idea.
I am.
Like,
Yeah. And if they're not set up, we can come back at some later point, and add to it. But I like the idea. Yeah.
like they did. John, or I don't have the technology knowledge, but if we were to go into some place that doesn't have something set up, how hard is it to set up? I mean, is it possible to set up the live stream with some place that doesn't already have it? I guess what please, I don't know this end of it. I mean, I know music based and I know that you can use microphones. So I know microphones exist if you don't have, I know that there's a such thing as sound systems. So I guess I'm not clear what the differentiation would be is if we would go someplace that and just bring in our own microphones and Zoom it versus.
I can't speak to what material the city has as far as what we can move or
Oh,
what we can bring.
Okay, okay. Okay, so then that answers the question. Let's stick to places that are already accommodating this. Kathleen, what are your thoughts up there? You're laughing, so I don't know if you're laughing at the TV show or at us.
No, I mean, I think we've tried this before and it never came to fruition. But I'm always willing to be out and about and doing the community thing.
But Kathleen, do you know why it didn't come to, because I do remember being at Park Ridge one time,
Yep, and we were at the senior center.
and we were at the senior center, and I thought I'm thinking that the main issue was how we publicize it or didn't publicize it, because there's some things that I've been thinking about in terms of, we could have, we can have, it's on Facebook, it's on, it's on the website, all that kind of stuff, but also we could possibly do some flyers that are distributed by someone to homes, residences in those, in those wards. And it doesn't have to be like, 1,000, but, get a couple hundred out, and it's just, so you hit a couple hundred homes, and so their information is there that we're going to meet on, January 5th or whatever. And,
23rd.
I'm just throwing that out there. Okay, January 23rd. And you know what I'm saying? So I think if we put some effort and some know-how into that, that might be helpful. Again, but we really got to make the community understand that we are here as representatives or associates of the community, and we need to have some conversation with the department, and especially the department heads. So
I like it. I think we were also going to use WISE. That we didn't have our third meeting and we were going to use WISE, if I remember correctly. This was many, many years ago, but we were going to use WISE.
Yeah.
Mr. Tucson.
So two things. Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxon just let me know that during the time of COVID, the Freight House was outfitted to be able to hold meetings there. So I guess we do have the some of the equipment to be able to do so. Secondly, my question for Commissioner Hume. So alternating locations is it's in an effort to bring the meeting to the people, correct? To have them understand what this body does and the use of it and how they can come to the
Right.
body, right?
Yes.
Is your idea married to having it specifically for the meetings, or is it possible that majority of the meetings could still be held in council chambers while maybe every month or every other month alternating between locations to hold an event to have people in the specific wards bring their issues to or their questions or their concerns to this body?
So if I'm understanding what your question is, it's mainly just to have this meeting
Mhm.
show up
Okay.
at Ypsi Rec Department or
Right.
Rec Center, and folks can come and attend to see what is going on and understand. We can, at the same time, we will be giving out, some we would describe what we're about and what this is about and then we meet every month. You know what I'm saying? They would, let them know. So yeah, it's to do the meeting, not necessarily an event.
Gotcha.
But we could substitute an event
Gotcha.
or double up. If
Right,
there's
like
an
a
event
double
going on, we
event.
can have a short meeting before the event and then have the event at the same,
Gotcha.
if that's something that we so choose to do.
Gotcha.
Well, we could do it much like the city and the police chief
With
was doing the
talks.
chat meetings and do it like maybe every 4th month, visit one of the wards
Mhm.
and have a big event.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. Gotcha.
And doesn't have to be every other month. It
Right.
could be, every 2 months.
Right.
So we'll have 4 venues out there that within a year that we will have touched or stopped by or,
Gotcha. I like that idea. Gotcha. Thank you.
So right now we have open for vote and someone did make a motion of keeping the calendar as is.
so move.
And then the location would be with the idea of somebody, if I am correct, needs to make a motion to say that the location is to be announced, or do we just want to change it as we see necessary?
Well,
Right now it has this, we're meeting meeting starts at 7 PM in City Council Chambers, first floor at 1 Huron Street in Ypsilanti, these dates.
Right.
So it has written in here the time and the location.
right.
So do we want to,
That's why I want to put this on the agenda for January when the large body is here, and then we can have this discussion again with a decision being made at that time.
okay.
Okay, well, we want to change the calendar places or whatever, that which is on the calendar, we want to change.
So
this.
then could someone make a motion potentially to take out the location and vote on the dates? So we have the dates for the YPAC meetings and then the location we can discuss in January?
Why do we need to do that? I'm asking, can we modify it in January or not?
You do need to approve a calendar of some kind.
Right.
Because we need a calendar.
Or
And to leave the dates is not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt anything to leave that. I mean, the placing.
to be pedantic, if you don't approve a calendar, you don't have a meeting in January.
Right. I get that. But I'm just saying, but if we don't have to take out,
Well, that was my question.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think we have to-
I asked that. That was my question.
I don't think we have to take that out.
I'm sorry. Yes.
I'll put a motion forward to leave it as is.
I second that.
To say voice, call the roll call vote or,
Yeah, Commissioner Wolkoff. For the vote, to approve the calendar as it is.
yes.
Commissioner Humes,
Yes.
Commissioner C4,
Yes.
Commissioner Monroe.
Yes.
All right, motion passes.
Thank you. The next on the agenda is sorry. The annual report. You all have the annual report. I hope you've read it over. Feedback, it was just brought to my attention. The one thing I would like everybody to make notice to is I was doing some serious time traveling when I was writing this because I have 2024 in some places and 2023 in some other places. So I would like to say that that will be corrected. So it all says 2024, and we're not just going to keep jumping back and forth from year to year.
Trouble.
Why not? Time traveling's cool. Is this the first people are seeing this? Yes, Commissioner, is this the first you're seeing this, Commissioner Seifert? Is this the first you're seeing the?
From the previous months, I perused them, but I haven't
Okay.
read it in.
I move that I don't know how, would just give 5 minutes so people have an opportunity to read? At a motion, I mean, could I just say 5-minute break while people read? Thank you, John.
This.
No?
Oh, you're good. You are good.
So the commissioners that are just joining, I have the end of the year commission reports for last year and the previous year, the years that I was chair, if you are curious to read where we've been, just so you have some idea.
Yeah.
of where we've been. I can send them to you if you're interested,
Yeah, please.
because I know that they are someplace, but just so you have them, so I can send. Discussions. Questions.
So what is SPIDR? SPIDR? Community outreach or engagement? Spider-Man?
I'm gonna, Spider Person Humes, do you want to
No,
like
no, no,
start
no.
that one and
But
then?
you know, because he tapped on something that I'm gonna bring up too.
Oh, yay. Spider, from what I remember, and then our council people can fill in the blank. I just randomly over there. Can fill in, at one moment, we were talking about two things parallel. One would be one part of this, and the second was the chief was looking into Spider, which is a software where it received real-time phone calls into the police department. So the police department could track and see how, like, the response time, and they could monitor what was happening within the department. But those were the phone calls coming in. I mean,
Complaints. and things.
complaints.
Sure.
Complaints and
Call for action or complaints
Yeah.
or anything like that.
Mhm.
Commissioner McCormick, am I remembering correctly? Do you want to add to that?
No, I was, when I first saw it, when Eric commented on it a few days ago, I was like, oh yeah, Spider. But no, I don't have anything more to add on it.
What was your thought? Because I think we're heading the same direction. What was your thought
On the
that came
whole,
across when you heard Spider from Eric a couple days ago? Seriously.
honestly, that I'm glad we didn't you know, go further with that.
Because it was a one-way. So what I would, may I stop you? Was it stopped? Do you know, did this progress? Was it actively, is it being, is it on the table still? Or is it, you know, the status, any
Right.
updates on this?
So from what I remember from that conversation, and that some presentation that Chief Moore had provided to us, it was more so that he went to learn more about it. I'm not sure if there was any contracts written up or if that's something that we have implemented in our PD to track complaints and whatnot. I just think that it was like an informational that was brought to YPAC by way of our chief.
Right, because Eric and I went to a meeting, a Zoom meeting with the chief and the people who creators of Spider and the
I remember that.
right. And so, right, I don't know.
Yeah, I
know
don't
this- It
think-
just sort of
Yeah.
stopped.
I don't, yeah.
We went any
Stop.
further with that.
And therefore, here's my point. So over on page 9, where you have July 2023 QR codes and vendor identification.
Mhm.
It says YPAC discussed using QR codes as a method for enhancing community engagement. So where did it go?
It hasn't gone anyplace. That's why it's open-ended, because the chief was going to take this over and
Yes.
create the cards and put it on the cards. And he had the mechanisms to do this. And that's as far as it's gone.
That's what he said.
He was going to take it. It was because he had the questions. Excuse me,
Right.
I
right.
don't like this.
Yes.
The chief of police had the questions,
Right.
Right.
approved them, because we kept going back and forth with all of the questions.
Right.
Yep, they were approved, and the chief was going to take it from there and implement that onto the cards with the time period for doing this. Yes. So that it didn't happen.
Which is my point. Is that ideas and thoughts and people worked hard to come up with something that we felt was for the community's benefit. And we get, well, there's this program for that, or there's this for that. Okay. So where did it go? When is this happening? When, you know what I'm saying? And that's part of my one frustration, but also part of my motivator to these things need to happen so that this group, this committee is not just coming to meet and putting stuff out there and things are going nowhere.
Okay. So
Right. Like we've got loose ends that have not been tied up or
For no,
or
for
even
no
acknowledged
out.
to go further in the process.
Right.
right. So what message, this is for city council. So what message, and I mean, this end of the year report, I can
Okay.
take this back
Okay,
and
that's-
add something. What I'm hearing from people is we need to be clear about the fact that we have a lot of, YPAC believes that there's loose ends that don't have the follow through. Am I using the correct words, or
We gotta be,
Kathleen, help us?
yeah,
Or you could put the status as pending, so that they know that this is an incomplete thing.
that sounds good.
So for like the stakeholders, community service approval, that would be pending. And the QR codes, that would be pending.
Pending.
Um,
And Spider would be depending,
Dead.
you know.
so the complaint process would also be pending.
Correct. Because that circles back with the QR codes, correct?
But they were different things, right? And then what also would be pending is how the chief of police was going to give us police department updates. Because
Whoa.
whoa.
Is that,
Well, it's inconsistent and we don't have them because we had what we had from Chief DeJuicy and we were following that. And then Chief Moore made changes of what he wanted to do. And then he changed his change. So that keeps changing. We don't get anything consistently. So I guess my question to YPAC is that also something pending? Or
so well, if there's no decision about the frequency or the regularity or whatever that of that coming, we need to make a decision about what we believe we need and then advise that to
we've talked about that, Herman.
but we need a final, okay.
We need the police chief to start showing up to these meetings.
So then how do we what do we want city council to know that, I mean, I hear you that we want representation from the police department.
That we would require it, because what we found out at our last meeting is that they're only required to be there on a quarterly basis.
But
No, but that's not,
years ago when YPAC first started out, Kathleen and Herman, help me remember, didn't we put it into, didn't we vote on a resolution that said that the chief of police was going to show up at the meeting? Because I remember Chief DeJuicy saying, I show up anyway. And we all had the conversation, well, when you're not the chief, we want the next chief to show up at all the meetings. I remember this. I'd have to go through my notes and find out exactly when.
I'd also like to interject and say, I did speak to the fact that, the chief had a requirement as to when he would appear. And I've since learned that that may not be particularly the case. I'm not sure exactly if it's, a policy that he's following, but I can't stand behind that statement. So I'm not exactly sure.
And so that could be not pending, but undecided. And I think some of those undecided would be the best to let city council know that there have been discussions, but there seems to be some
So,
gaps.
so YPAC, do we want our staff? I don't even know if we have the ability to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Do we want our staff representative to be the chief of police or somebody from the police department here at the meeting?
I would,
I heard-
yes, I think a
I think that would be
representative,
helpful.
a representative of the police department needs to be here.
A representative from the police department.
Yeah, he can choose,
So,
pick,
A lot of
choose.
a lot of the questions that were asked tonight could have been answered if somebody was here.
Or if, and if not able to answer the question, at least they have heard
Yeah.
what the concern is and take that back to the department. There, Mr. Herman Humes is having a, hissy fit over, QR codes or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They need to have that because that's part of what we believe that's going to make us more responsive to the community.
so we could put this in the end of the year. 2024, working on the year, sorry, folks. 2024 end of the year report. That we want a representative from the police department to be at the YPAC meetings?
Yeah.
Or,
That's the one that we're gonna submit next, right? Yeah, I don't think that would hurt. Yeah, that sounds.
Well, I guess I'm thinking we need to have that discussion period as a group.
so can we do both? One is, because we need to have the end of the report, because this clearly isn't going to pass right now, and I'm going to take it and fix it, and so I'm gonna have to find the logistics of how to do that, but also maybe put on in our goals to have the discussion early in January of our staff representative.
These things to be discussed and decided upon in January 2025.
So in terms of how the annual report stands now, I think it can be passed providing that the amendments that you all decide on tonight are, implemented into it, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't.
So like putting in there pending or undecided.
Yeah, like the changes that y'all want to make, it can be yeah.
Because we want to let city council know
Mhm.
specifically the specific things that we are concerned about.
Oh, I understand.
Right. So then the goals are another
Correct.
document, right?
Yeah.
So in January,
Yeah.
we want to go through and get some decisive discussion and
Absolutely.
movement on resolution on these things that
Absolutely.
were decided pending or whatever.
Absolutely.
2024 report.
Yeah, so the annual report that stands now, or whatever changes you all want to make to it, it can be, you guys can vote on it, on if you want to pass it or whatnot with the changes to be made.
Gotcha.
Right?
Right.
If I'm not mistaken.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Okay.
Where I come from, that would be like writing a report card and say, I'm gonna send you.
Right. I get it.
It's like so not done. So to me, it's like, I can't hand in a document that's not finished.
So whatever changes need to be made to the annual report, discuss it, knock it out, and then just implement those in, and then y'all can pass it tonight and then submit it.
Great.
So then may I ask clarification for in the areas that we're putting pending what? We need to have more information there.
Well, spiders pending.
Pending completion of the project. product.
Pending completion of the product, do we want to say by whom or how or?
I don't think, I think it's obvious by whom, right?
Pending completion.
Pending completion. And then if someone comes to me and says, well, you know, when are you gonna get Spider done? Well, that's not in my bailiwick. It's in the chief's bailiwick, and that's on chief to bring that, and we're asking for that information and that decision.
So that means to clarify that when this end of the year report comes up, then either our liaison is going to have to walk people through it, or one of us commissioners are going to need to know in advance the date and time that that happens, so we can walk through it. I don't know.
But if
I've submitted a lot of reports. I've never presented a report. So
Gotcha.
I don't know what's the process. This process is now becoming things I heard about a reality.
Is there a presentation associated with the annual report being submitted?
There haven't been, unless this, the reports have been, submitted and presented to council, they're all back on. Dependent. Some chairs of commissions will, do presentations, give them sustainability is, that was also part of, an engagement as well. And talking to council, let us know, you know, what was important, you know, and ask or request for conversation. And the council. But, and I don't think we got to the point that county wide.
Okay.
At the present.
Okay.
But it's, you know, it's a reasonable thing for here, these things come out. I have a presentation for here, pretty good.
Yeah.
Say, here are things that we discussed, and here's our concern. That's great. But I don't think asking, but never required a presentation. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so all in all, when you submit it, you can present it if you would like. And I think that it would behoove to do a presentation surrounding our annual report.
Right, so the chair and the co-chairs can go do that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
They're getting paid the big bucks.
When is the presentation?
We don't know.
Okay.
This just has to, the annual report just has to be submitted before the end of the year. So I would assume that at one of our meetings in January, if I'm not mistaken, it could be presented, though, because there's no resolution or anything binding that says, hey, the commissions, you have to present your annual report. I'm assuming that even in the first meeting in January, if the chair and co-chair would like to present the annual report there, they can do so. So if I'm not mistaken.
My understanding is that that first council session is the 7th of January.
Yes, it is.
21st would be the following.
Letting you all know that I will be absent for the first meeting of the year. So
Oh, man.
unfortunately,
Where are you going?
I'm going out of town with mom. So yeah.
Can we
I'm
come?
talking about.
Come on. Come
Cool.
on.
IPAC's not happening. We're going on vacation. The two cents.
But yeah, that's
Says
if you all would
leave the question, just pack.
if you all would like, and I think that the want is there, you all can present at any meeting, at the January 7th meeting, at the second meeting in January, whenever you would like. You just gotta let us know.
Perfect. Awesome. We can do that.
Thank you.
So to clarify, we can vote on the end of the year report. This is painful for me to say. We can vote on an end of the year report with the idea being that, with the statement that the changes will be made where the dates will be changed all to the same year. The things that we have pending will be marked
Mhm.
pending, upon completion of the project or, and then the police updates would be listed as undecided, undecided for what was being presented. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Am I as,
Sounds,
You're all right.
that sounds right to me.
okay? So then we need a motion.
Yeah, need a motion to pass or to vote on this agenda pending the changes.
Pending all the pendings.
Yeah, pending all the yeah, right.
I'll give a motion.
And I'll second that.
Oh,
I know exactly what you meant.
we're the commissioner with ESP. Are you gonna roll call?
Commissioner Humes,
Yes.
Commissioner C4,
Yes.
Commissioner Monroe,
Yes.
Commissioner Wolkoff.
Yes.
Motion passes.
So then I send you, John, Eric and I send you the changes. Is that correct?
I expect.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can do that. Announcements. This is the time that people announce, also a time that we look for, observations that you have in the community, ideas that you have. And we also talked about coming up with, ideas for preparation for the goals for 2025. Do people have? Yes.
I can get my announcement.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so 2 event announcements. On December the 14th at 2 p.m., Supreme Felons Incorporated, they're having a children's coat drive at Park Ridge Community Center. I don't know if I said the time, but at 2 p.m. right there at Park Ridge Community Center, December the 14th. Then 4 days later, December the 18th at 6 p.m., the community chats with the mayor, city manager, and the police chief will be held at Park Ridge Community Center once again at 6 p.m., December the 18th. And I would like to say that I'm looking forward to the goal setting from this body. Per the last meeting with the conversations and the public comment from Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxon centered around focusing on doing the events separately from other organizations until we get our stability up under our feet, so to speak. I like that. So I'm looking forward to the goal setting, and I'm looking forward to what this body comes out with in 2025.
Do you know what day of the week December 18th is?
I can grab it. It is a Wednesday. And then the Saturday before is the coat drive for the kids.
Well, no, I'm just asking because that's a time that, can somebody from YPAC try to attend that? I'm unable to because of my work schedule. And they're all of these times are at times that our second shift people can't work.
Mhm.
So if people, because I know the other 2 have also been
On the same time.
at the same time. I have requested for morning ones, but anyway, but just so can YPAC members attend?
I plan to be there.
Thank you.
And if
Thank you.
anything changes and any YPAC members can be there, I'll be there taking notes so I can forward that to everybody as well.
Yeah,
What time is
no,
that?
that's perfect, but just so,
Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
you're there, but
Absolutely. 6
but-
p.m. Park
6
Ridge Community Center.
The coat drive. What time was the coat drive?
The coat drive is at 2 p.m. on the 14th. Yep, same place.
2 p.m. on the 14th. 16th, the 18th, where's that meeting at?
Park Ridge,
Park Ridge, Folsom Park
6
Ridge?
p.m. at Park Ridge.
Both at Park Ridge, right? Okay.
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
so the 19th?
That's one of those chat meetings that they're having at the DDA. That one I won't be able to make.
And that's also the community meeting with same group of people.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Makes me a happy keeper. Any other agenda item?
Can I go over goals and ideas next?
Yeah, for goals and ideas?
Okay, great. Are we at that now?
Yes.
Okay.
Share to give what your ideas you want to put on the goals and agendas. I'm sorry, I wasn't clear.
Awesome. Yeah. One thing that I've noticed that other jurisdictions have in place is there are public websites for like looking at crime data and things like that. And crime mapping would probably be the big figure online here. The Ypsi Police Department, I don't believe, shares their data with crime mapping. So that would be something I think would be really helpful for people to have that transparency where they can just kind of log on and see what's going on. But I'd love to look at that or any other way that we could have a better access of data and information. And I like this idea of Spider, but when I'm hearing about that idea, I'm thinking to myself, this could be expensive either on the side of however much these proprietary software services cost, or expensive on the side of the department staff or administrative team having to do some lift in terms of how much time they're spending, like with this system, trying to get the data into it and all of that. But I would like to just look at things that we could start hopefully on the simple side and on the cheap side, which would give the public access to that data with hopefully without putting the chief and the staff through some huge rigmarole to get it to us. So I'm just hoping that we can kind of come together and have an easy way to sort of to connect both sides. I think once more data is out there, that might also help with the community engagement as well, because they'll be able to see more.
Commissioner Humes? Do you have
I'm good.
Commissioner McCormick?
Hey,
I
I don't have any announcements or anything.
not announcements, but for ideas for the goal setting in
Goal setting.
January, we want to have things up there so we can discuss them to get them in goals.
One thing that was discussed is definitely working on getting another Ward 1 member. Actually, I just spoke with one this evening. So I'm trying to get them on board. And the community engagement things being out into the community. We talked about that last month, and that's something that I really want to make sure that we follow through on.
I had some notes from the previous meeting. There was some preliminary discussion about the goals for 25. Like Commissioner McCormick said, filling the vacant seat for Ward 1. There was some discussion about attempting to increase visibility in the community. Was not determined whether you should add continuing to work with the HRC. It's a potential thing. I had written integrating consistent complaint reporting to these meetings as a potential goal. There was some discussion of giving some attention to the Ypsi Police Department's Citizen Police Academy.
Mm.
And given the discussion at several previous council meetings, whether or not to make a recommendation to city council regarding police presence at Washington Street.
Put a list so we can, Eric and Kathleen can go through it, but yeah, for January. Thank you very much.
That was back there and I forgot.
What? Washington Street? Yeah,
Yes, police presence.
right, right. Commissioner Seifert, do you have things you would like to put on?
Nope. I'm good. It's good.
I have one that I would like to have discussed is having the people that do the care-based safety. Who I was at the city council meeting whenever ago, a week ago or so, and they did a presentation and it was very enlightening. And considering the work that we do with the police department, to have all of the commissioners fully knowledgeable of what other alternatives are being talked about within the city, so we can talk about it with knowledge and information. I don't know if other commissioners have had this, but I had not had the full discussion, and I know that I still haven't had it because they just brought it down to fit into a certain timeline. So we didn't hear the full thing, but I would love to, if you all are agreeable, but I would like to have it on the, as our goals is that we as a commission know and we hear a presentation about that.
Learn more about have an opportunity to learn more about the care.
Care-based safety. Do you want to add more to that?
Yeah, I think for this body, the Police Advisory Commission, it would behoove us to, well, behoove you all to have the full scope of knowledge when, you know, talking about things police in the community. And I think that a good stepping stone into that will be having care-based safety come in and explain the things that they train in and they understand, and the things that they do in the community. That way, yeah, there's just more information going forward and figuring things out.
Heard at the, help me out if you can. What I heard at the city council meeting a week ago is they were doing like a follow-up. So they had, it wasn't the full presentation. It was a summary of the presentation. I mean, it was still enough that it gave me, it really let me know that I didn't know, which as a commissioner, something, is something that I felt like I should know.
Right.
And is this something that the police department should be
Utilize it?
aware of, or not utilize so much as much as to be aware of, to see how they might
If I'm not mistaken,
fit?
I believe that the police department at least knows about what care-based safety does. And in an effort to what's the word I'm looking for? In an effort to strengthen the abilities of the individuals on this body and the things and the avenues that people can take to get certain things taken care of, I think that at the very least, if this body hears what care-based safety is able to or knows about and does, that this could be another avenue in which, if something that is happening wherever in the city and the individuals involved or affected by this situation don't want to contact the police, that they can seek help in a different manner.
So it'd be another resource for the community or the citizens or the individuals to tap into
because in their
to get some.
Yeah, because in their presentation 2 weeks ago, they spoke about their interaction in the past year and a half or two, if I'm not mistaken, and how they had their
Is it just 1 year?
I think it might have been with just 1 year. They had their on-site location, I think at Washington Street or somewhere
Washington Street.
around, and they serviced people and individuals who didn't want to, you know, interact directly with police. So at the very least, like I said, it's another tool to be able to fortify you all to be able to push people in another avenue if they don't want the police to be involved.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
And then I have something to bring to people's attention that will need to be acted upon. We don't have enough time. We won't have another meeting before city council, but the House Bill 6121 is the law enforcement and law enforcement. Basically, within the state of Michigan, they're passing a bill, or they would like to pass a bill. This is the first time this is going through. Basically, if an individual makes a complaint, they will remain private and remain anonymous. And this is a House bill that will be voted upon. So I know that they reconvene December 10th. It's House Bill 6121. And it's just something that I don't know if we have enough time to get a recommendation to city council to do something, or just to get the word out, to let your state representatives know, look into it and let them know that this is something that they should vote for, or if they're voting for it, then thank them for voting for it.
But can we not have a little short discussion with us since we have a quorum and that kind of?
Oh, absolutely. We can have a
And then
discussion.
just state that we support this. And then the
Absolutely.
part of what will go to city council is that, you know, the YPAC has support in House Bill number wherever.
Is there another city council meeting before the end of the year? December 17th. Never mind. So thank you,
We can-
Herman. So we can do it. So December 17th. So
So again, the House bill that's
Yeah,
coming
let me-
forward is saying that if a citizen complains, then they will remain anonymous, which means what? That whoever receives the complaint will not identify them, or they do not have to, or is it they do not have to identify themselves? They can just say, I'm a community member who lives on
like the
Grant
whistleblowing.
Street and
It's like-
such and such happened, and I'm upset about that, or I think it could have been handled a different way, and I just want to leave it at that.
I'm looking it up so I can give you the verb. Did you find it already? I saw you typing.
No,
quickly.
I was looking for it though.
Okay.
Following definitions, except as provided in this act or otherwise required by law, if requested by the individual who filed a misconduct complaint to keep the individual's identity confidential, a person shall not knowingly disclose information in a misconduct complaint filed against a law enforcement officer that personally identifies the individual who filed the misconduct complaint.
And this is 6121.
Information in a misconduct complaint filed against a law enforcement officer that personally identifies the individual who has filed the misconduct complaint may be disclosed only in one or more of the following circumstances. A, by the individual who filed the misconduct complaint. B, with the written permission of the individual who filed the misconduct complaint. C, pursuant to a court order. Oh, there's a lot of these. D, to a defendant's defense attorney or prosecutor if criminal charges are filed. To an arbitration panel if the misconduct complaint is subpoenaed in an arbitration hearing. To an administrative judge if a misconduct complaint is subpoenaed in an administrative hearing. B, to a person designated by a law enforcement agency to receive and investigate misconduct complaints. H, to a law enforcement officer if necessary for an internal investigation. Person who violates this act is responsible for a state civil infraction and may be ordered to pay a civil fine of not more than $500. As
Well, I just know I'm all for making it reasonable, doable for a person to bring forth a complaint and not be subjected to retribution or revenge or whatever. And if that does it, then I'm in support of that. Obviously, if it goes further down the road where it becomes a legal situation with an officer or whatever, then then at that point you have the right to either step up and say I'm willing to testify or report or whatever in person. But other than that, that's where I'm at. I'm supporting it, I think, the way I understood it.
There appears to be a whole group of bills going through, and this is one of them
Protect the
in
community.
committee to protect the committee. Yeah. And policing. Other interests, what we want to do. So a discussion of what we want to do with this? I guess I can think of two things. One is we could make a formal resolution that would go through. We could ask, number two would be asking our liaison to say that we support this.
That will come up at city council meeting?
Say that one more time, sorry.
That will come up at city council meeting,
We ask.
that particular bill or not? Or do we have to do a resolution?
State bill.
Yeah, you guys, this commission can pass a resolution tonight telling me to go ahead and, this, I'm sorry, this body can pass a resolution tonight, directing, to vote in support of, and then, we can, have that resolution put on the agenda for the 17th meeting and we can vote on it there.
And in our resolution, can we're telling you that we support it. Can you, in that resolution, can we also ask city council to support it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is there already a legal mechanism for someone to submit an anonymous complaint like that the bill is addressing? Or are there no anonymous complaints without this bill?
Everything that I've read, which I have to say, this came across my screen earlier today or late last night, is that this is new. That something like this doesn't exist
Interesting.
There are places.
in Michigan. Once again, yes.
it may be true that there are communities that have anonymous tip reporting, but this would make it a requirement.
By the
With the state of Michigan.
So this would be the state of Michigan's. So it would become a state law.
I hate to beat a dead horse, but I would love if the chief were here to give his opinion on this bill. But I don't have enough
I hear you, but
information
you know what?
to have an
I,
opinion.
be honest with you, as a citizen, I don't need him. I don't
Sure.
need him to give his opinion on that. I would like to be held, in high esteem and not have myself put out there if I don't want to be, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Just go, I want to be able to make a statement wherever about something that's going wrong without being identified if I don't want to be identified.
Sure.
I don't mind personally being identified, but I'm just saying there's enough of us out here that I know that are concerned about, it coming back at them.
Yeah.
And they can't afford that.
Yeah, and I can.
So I'm all good with the chief not. I would like to just recommend that we support this bill and
Okay.
just leave it at that.
Kathleen,
I agree with Commissioner Hills.
do we have, so what do we want? Do we want to make a resolution?
That what it would need to be?
Yes. And then if we do, we would need a resolution. Someone would have to make the resolution, second it. We would have to state exactly what we want city council and Roland to do with.
Yeah,
excuse me.
and the resolution could be as simple as whereas the Ypsilanti Police Advisory Commission discussed House Bill 6121, and realizing the need for anonymity in certain situations with police contact, the commission is recommending that city council also support this House bill. It could be as simple as that.
We support the House bill and we're recommending that city council also let whoever the parties that
Mhm.
need to know
Be as simple as that.
that they support also.
Absolutely. Could be
House bill
Sounds good to me.
121.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
I so move.
We have a second.
Second.
So do we know what that resolution is other than what Roland just said? John, did
The
you?
resolution is, John just read, right?
The,
The Roland, no, the resolution that goes to city council.
It could be exactly as simple as just what I just
Yeah,
said.
yeah.
Simple what he just said. I did not write that down.
Support of it, that's all.
I can write it. I'll rewrite it for you.
You'll rewrite it for us? Thank
John, you need it written?
Yeah.
I ultimately, for it to go onto the council agenda, it'll need to be written, but for the purposes of the vote, I think it would be.
Councilperson Roland's gonna write it for us.
I got you.
Following that, we can
Vote on it?
vote on it. Commissioner C4.
Yeah.
Commissioner Monroe,
No.
Commissioner Wolkoff,
Yes.
Commissioner Humes,
Yes.
motion passes.
Excellent. Hey. Giving y'all a few more minutes to think about what you might want to put on your goals for 2025. This is your opportunity to add to, this doesn't mean that it can't happen and we can't add more goals, but ideas just for discussion for goals. No? Cool. Public comments. Do you have anybody online?
Still have one watching the Zoom. If you'd like to make any public comment, Timothy, this would be the time to do so. You can unmute yourself or raise your hands. Else we will go to members of the public in the room.
In line. Go to the end.
I listened to the discussion around the table. I'm not the keeper of the city, but I heard a good idea from Mr. Humes tonight that he was saying, take these meetings to different areas in the city. And I think that's a good idea because, you know, all the time people don't come to you. It's like I tell them in church, people don't come to you, you got to go to them sometime. And I say, and when going to the people and you got the executive branches of police departments there are giving reports, there's transparency there. You're not being excused from transparency. And I hear I hear you talking about having the officials from the police department at meetings, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. But I think it has to be someone that's designated that's equipped to answer questions that you might have, because you might have some hardball questions that a young patrol officer, a rookie officer can't answer, and he would be a member of the police department if he was, you know, commanded to come. So I think it's important that you have those people here, but you need to have someone that's astute as to what police work is about, what police do, rather than to just have someone that gonna tell you, I gotta come back and tell you later because I don't know. So I appreciate your meeting, and it was a lot of things was really, really interesting here because, you know, especially when it come down to stuff that this commission discussed, is like my pet peeve. I've been, if you want to say, in the wilderness a long time concerning this kind of stuff. So appreciate you. Keep on doing your thing. Take the MC Hammer approach. You're too legit to quit.
Hello, members of YPAC.
Thank you
Uh,
much. Have a good evening. Stay warm.
My name is Steve Wilcoxon. I live in Ward 2. Number of things came up. Glad to see that you got quorum tonight. Good discussion of our goals. I've been whispering in Roland's ear about various things. A few things came up. Commissioner Monroe was talking about crime mapping, and currently on the city website, there is the call record, but there is also a Clemis map. So if you go onto the city website, there's a software, Clemis, that does mapping for crime throughout Michigan, and it has a record of those incidents that are in Ypsilanti as well. So that is there. The second thing with the House Bill 6121, you guys voted the resolution to go forward. I can work with your liaison to craft something for the city to send to the state. But the thing is, the current complaint for the city requires that a witness be named in the form, but there's also at the very end of it, it says your information, do not complete this information below if you wish to remain anonymous. So it's not required by the city to, you know, it's already built in that these complaints can be anonymous in the city. So supporting it at the state level is fine, but we already have the ability to have that within the city. So that's the other thing. Just wanted to give a little more information about the care-based safety. Care-based safety has been running on a pilot program for the last year. They received funding from a private foundation of about $800,000 to get this started. It's a community organized organization. It's not like the county has put this together or anything like that. It's people that came together that saw a need, that were impacted and decided to go about changing the way that people on the street with mental health issues were engaged. And I think they've done a pretty good job. The report they gave to us in council was kind of what they've been doing in their pilot program. They're looking to partner with the city to do more work. We met, city manager, myself, the chief of police, and two other council members met to have an RFP to engage them. It failed when it came to council because it wasn't detailed enough. It's not that council wasn't willing to consider the general idea, but the specific proposal didn't pass. So I can tell you about it offline too. So.
It is 8:33. Do I have a motion to adjourn the December 5th, 2024 YPAC meeting? And we won't see each other until 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Glad it was there.
You know, Jeff Irwin passed a bill probably about a month and a half to get mental health funding in schools. It was over $800 million.